Welcome to the road to 1 million US dollars. Let's get right into the Bitcoin chart for today, starting on this 1 hour time frame for Bitcoin, because since yesterday we saw a breakout of this ascending channel pattern. After that, a short-term rejection from this longer-term descending trend line, and we'll get to that in just a second. But after finding some support along the top side of this previous resistance, flipping it into support, we saw another pump to the upside, and this led to this massive move to the upside on the lower time frames here. So we're already talking about a 4% move to the upside, which is significant on this 1 hour time frame. Besides that, in yesterday's video, we also talked about these Fibonacci levels here. We broke through this Fibonacci golden pocket, came back down again after that short-term rejection from that long-term descending trend line, and we found support exactly at this Fibonacci golden pocket, leading to this massive pump to the upside once again. By now, we have even broken through this 0.786 Fibonacci level sitting at 108.3K. So potentially, in the case that we come back down here, we might find some short-term support around this level. Either way, the most important thing is this 1 day time frame here, because after we broke down from this massive ascending trend line, we dropped to the downside, hit this price target right here, which we of course later adjusted, and we found some support along this big level of support sitting from 103 all the way down to 101.5K. More interestingly though is that we have now broken through this big level of resistance sitting from 105 up to 107K, as well as this descending trend line in the Bitcoin price. So Bitcoin is starting to look pretty bullish here. Of course, in the immediate short term, there are some overbought signals, but overall, if we are looking at the broader trend on the 1 day time frame, as long as we do not get some kind of like double top or whatever over here, then it should be good for Bitcoin. And the next big area of resistance after these previous all-time highs should be this big area of resistance here, sitting at around 115K in the Bitcoin price. Better way to look at this is from this 3-day time frame. You can see that we have some resistance all the way back from the previous all-time highs and along the top of the previous highs just a couple of months ago. Something that we should take into consideration though is that right now we are in deep overbought territory on pretty much every time frame here, at least on the lower time frames. On the 1 day time frame, there is still more room to the upside for this to continue running, but with this 1 hour and just these lower time frames being in extreme overbought territory, it wouldn't be crazy to see the price cool off just a little bit sometime soon, either in the form of the price just chopping sideways or potentially even seeing a little bit of bearish momentum on the lower time frames, simply just in order to reset the RSI back down. Although on the lower time frames, the trend is simply up. So overall, we should be bullish on Bitcoin here. Next, moving on to the Bitcoin liquidation heat map. First of all, on the 1 month time frame, right now we do have a bunch of liquidity to the upside at around 109.8K. So this is very likely going to get taken out, especially with this massive bullish momentum on the lower time frames that we have right now. Besides that, we do also have some liquidity to the upside at 110.7K in the Bitcoin price. Again, it would not be surprising if we end up taking out this level of liquidity here. And lastly, on this 1 month time frame, we also have liquidity around this 112.7K level. I think we can get the best picture on the 1 year time frame. Once again, similar to what I showed you yesterday, we already took out a bunch of liquidity around this 107K level, but from there we also still have liquidity at around 111K, all the way as high as a little bit above these previous all-time highs, sitting at 112.6K. So right now there is a lot of liquidity to the upside, and the trend is also to the upside. Although something that we should take into consideration is, for example, this 3-day time frame. Here, we, of course, have taken out a bunch of liquidity because we are seeing this massive run up to the upside. So in the immediate short term, there is a bunch of liquidity to the downside, for example, at around 106.3K, which is something we could keep an eye on in the case that we really start retracing a bunch of this pump that we just saw here. The key thing that I am personally looking out for is that we hold above this descending trend line in the Bitcoin price. and that we hold above 106.5k in the Bitcoin price as well. Either way, this has been today's market update. Thank you very much for watching once again, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one.